Hello, my name is Demetria Miles McDonald, and I'm the founder and CEO of Decide Diversity and the creator of the Table of Diversity. So let's talk a little bit more about the Table of Diversity. So by now, I've already talked about, given an overview of the Table of Diversity. You have the columns, you have the individual elements, all of that. So let's talk a little bit more about these individual elements. So if you're wondering, the question that I'm going to answer today, what do the individual blocks mean? So I'm going to take it back to chemistry class. Remember in chemistry, when you would learn about the individual chemistry elements like hydrogen, oxygen, well, it's the same for the table of diversity. Those individual blocks, which we call diversity elements, are those individual aspects of our identity. So within each column, those individual blocks represent identities from that particular group or demographic. So in the first column, it's race. So you'll have, Black, white, Native Hawaiian, so on and so forth. And that's how it is for each of the individual columns on the table of diversity, which we call diversity groups. And then it goes on to be even more specific within each of those individual diversity elements. So just whenever you have questions about the table of diversity, the first thing that I'm going to do is say, think about the periodic table of elements, because how you think about that, the concept, the principles behind the periodic table of elements, is going to be the exact same for the table of diversity. The way that it's organized, the way that you can think about it, how each of those individual elements interact to create, a compound or even that brand new experience. All of those things are the same. And speaking of, brand new experiences, when I first, would do the What's Your Diversity formula, I would have folks even have the small numbers that you see on chemistry formulas. I would have folks include that, because within some of these diversity elements, there are various layers of privilege and marginalization. So for example, when we would talk about gender identity, we might talk about, are you above a certain height or below a certain height? If you are above a certain height and you're a man, then that's a good thing. If you are a man, but you are below a certain height, we're going to put a little tally next to that, because that's another added layer of marginalization. For women, if you are under a certain height, that's a privilege. But if you're a woman and above a certain height, unless you're a supermodel, then that could be a point of marginalization. So you'd add a tally there, a little number. Another thing that we would talk about often is body size. So if you're a woman and you are, hourglass shaped, well, that is a privilege. If you are not, then that might be a point of marginalization. Same with hair texture, hair length. It could be, whether you wear makeup or all of those various aspects of what is societally accepted when it comes to image. We would break it down when it came to gender identity. Same thing with race or sexual orientation. We'd kind of look at what is the quote unquote model for this particular group. Do you fit that model? Do you fit that societal portrait of what it means to be part of that particular group? And if you don't, then we're going to start adding in some tallies there. That was an activity and thing that I used to do forever ago, but now that I talk about it again, that might be something that we bring back and we add to the lab, because that was fun to kind of dig into various aspects of identity in a way that called out, what needed to be called out from a societal perspective, but also we'd look at it from an organizational perspective. Maybe within your organization, wearing makeup was not the norm. You might be outside of the norm if you're going in wearing makeup, a full face of makeup. If you got lashes on, that might be outside of the norm. So there's so many things from a societal perspective that we were considering, but also from an organizational culture perspective that is important. So thinking about all of that, I think that might be something we add to the Table of Diversity lab. What do you all think about that? That might be fun. Okay, so if you want your copy of the Table of Diversity, it's completely free. You can go to tableofdiversity.com. And if you'd like to complete the What's Your Diversity formula, get into the lab because there's a video of me facilitating this activity. And then we'll add in some of those other aspects that I just mentioned, because I think I need to bring that back. I think that would add to the conversation quite a bit. I have to figure out where to add that in, when I'm doing my actual workshops and trainings, because that's jam-packed. But we'll fit it in because I think it's a good exercise. But get the Table of Diversity from tableofdiversity.com. Join me back here so that we can continue talking about the Table of Diversity. And who knows, I might start bringing stuff back from a long time ago when I first created the Table of Diversity, because I think I was on the right track with some of that stuff. Some of it will leave in the past. We don't have to bring back. I probably won't even talk about it. But for the good stuff, we're going to talk about it here and now on this channel. So join me. Again, my name is Demetria Miles McDonald. I'm the founder and CEO of Decide Diversity and the creator of the Table of Diversity. Join me back here soon so that we can keep this conversation going. Thanks, everyone. Bye.